Hi, everyone. Dr. Greg here, and welcome back. It's great to see you for another session. Thanks so much for joining me. Realized the last one was a little bit long, so we're going to try to get through this one a little bit faster and stick to our 20-minute objective. But great to have you back to continue to explore ideas around our mindset, to improve our cognition, to improve our mental health. And today, what I wanted to focus on is learning and strategic thinking. This is down into an alpha brainwave state. This follows along the principle of slowing down in order to be able to speed up. And today, what we're doing is we're moving out of that beta brainwave mode, hustle, focus, execute, get stuff done. Totally fine. That's when we protect our attention. But today, what we're doing is giving ourselves the chance to calm down, slow down, and open up new possibilities for us. So again, back to our framework and reference. Remember, imagine you come to my lab, put electrodes all over your head. We measure your brain waves. Broadly speaking, there are 5. Today, what we're doing is helping you understand how to move out of that beta brainwave mode down into that alpha brainwave state. For context, moving slow to fast. Remember, the delta brainwaves are when we are in sleep. Theta brainwaves are when we're creative and problem solving. We'll do this in our next session. Alpha brainwaves are that moderate zone. This is learning, reflection, strategic thinking, and this is what we're doing today. Beta brainwave mode, hustle, focus, execute, get stuff done. That was our last session. And later on in this course, we'll talk about gamma brainwaves, which is when we are in flow, that ideal performance state. So let's consider this alpha brainwave state, which really is all about learning. Now, although I have learning here, this is also a state where we can reflect, where we can plan, where we can do strategic thinking. This is really, really important for us in an era of artificial intelligence when anything that can be automated will be automated. This is where we can provide value that computers or AI can't yet. In 5 years, the robots may take over, in which case none of us will have anything to do. But for now, we will continue to think about this. So how do we optimize our learning? How do we improve our ability to navigate in uncertain times, to strategize, to plan, to reflect, to deconstruct, all critical skills for high performers? Now, in order to show you the brain state that we need to be in order to do this, just like we did talking about focus, I showed you some videos of sharks. This time, what I'm going to do is take you on an expedition to Africa. So when I finished my PhD, I couldn't get a job. So I gave away everything and took my bike and my tent to Cairo, Egypt, and cycled south for 11,000 kilometers, 8,000 miles to Cape Town, South Africa. And on that expedition, which is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest human-powered crossing of the African continent. I am not in the Guinness Book of World Records because I got hit by a cow in Malawi. Another story for another day. But 2 people met on that expedition, a high school buddy and the nurse from the trip. They ended up getting married. After the wedding, we went out on safari to Shishui National Game Park in South Africa, just north of Durban. And I had the opportunity to go out on a walking safari with this gentleman, which was absolutely incredible. Like, to be in a Jeep is cool. Being a Range Rover, whatever, a Land Rover, that's good. But a walking safari is next level. It was absolutely incredible to be out there with this gentleman. And he took me down into this watering hole where the animals were converging to, drink and eat each other. So it was intense. And then we stood up on top of this. Sorry, I'm reversed. This mound of earth right here. And then I looked to my left and I saw this beautiful rhino. I froze. The rhino froze. It looked at me. The ears locked in on me because they hear better than they see. And it's hung out there for a little while. It was pretty incredible, actually. And eventually managed to move myself back out and away from the situation. When I got back to my tent at night, I was looking at this. I was like, oh my gosh, that was incredible. What an unbelievable experience. And I cannot believe that I missed the second rhino. See it right there? I also couldn't believe that I missed these green parrots on that leaf, that branch. So here's the really interesting thing that happened in this situation. is that when I was faced with this rhino in the open plains of Africa, I locked in on it. It locked in on me. We both thought of each other as threats, actually, probably in that moment. And I lost my peripheral vision. In fact, when you're presented with a threat, your eyeball changes shape to be able to focus in on that specific issue better, which is a survival mechanism, and it's super helpful. The problem is that when you lose your peripheral vision, you also lose your peripheral thinking. You can't even contemplate that there's a second rhino there. You definitely can't even consider that there are some beautiful green parrots. By analogy, what's happening is that we're presented with a threat. You cannot see any other challenges that are affecting the situation, and you certainly can't see the opportunities. It's a perfect analogy for the challenge that we're faced with in our era right now, where there's so much coming at us that is threatening, legitimately so. War in the Middle East, problems in Eastern Europe, sociocultural adjustments and changes that need to be made to make the world a better place for everybody. So it's a hard time. Navigating these times is crucial. And for us to navigate, to lead, to teach, to guide, to help, it's critical that we help ourselves get out of this threat mode and out into a space where we can navigate, where we can lead, we can guide, we can reflect, we can learn. That does not happen when we're stressed. That actually only happens when we're calmer, actually about 50% calmer. If you look at the rate of brain waves, the hertz cycles per second here, in this case, we have 8 to 15 hertz. When we're talking about beta brainwave mode, it's 16 to 30 hertz. So we're literally 50% less activated here in this place where we can open up our thinking, see all of the challenges, see all of the opportunities, figure out where to navigate to. And here we have to be calmer. We have to be calmer. We have to slow down in order to be able to speed up. When we're in this state, really interesting things happen. We actually activate the frontal lobe of the brain right here. It's called the prefrontal cortex, right behind your forehead. That's where executive functioning occurs. And when we're in metacognition or alpha brainwave states, that is the part of the brain that becomes active, which is why when someone is thinking deeply about something, what are they often doing? Rubbing their forehead, because you can actually feel this happening. So then the question becomes, okay, Greg, that's cool. We need to be able to calm down and we need to be able to slow down in order to speed up. When we're presented with challenges, we need to be able to calm ourselves in those specific moments to open up our strategic thinking so that we can know where to go. Or in an environment where things are very, very stressful, we have to help ourselves to calm down and the people around us to calm down and to settle so we can slow down in order to speed up. That way we can learn, we can reflect, we can contemplate, we can navigate all these really, really important things. The question then becomes, how do we actually do this? Well, following the same structure and framework that we used in the last session, we have our strategic thinking pathway. You can also consider this the learning pathway if you want. The goal is better learning, better strategic thinking, better reflection. How do we do that? We have to enter an alpha brainwave state. Therefore, in our mind, body, and environment framework, we're considering that the mind must be reflective. This is a photo of my son, Adam, taken over the last few years. The fact that I even have this photo breaks my heart. And obviously he's stressed here. He's like a little bit anxious, and I'm sad that I have this photo. Clearly he's in a state that many of us are feeling right now and have been feeling for quite some time. The world is an unwell place at the moment. So what have we been doing to help him get out of this state? We've been doing a lot of this. Mindfulness, meditation, bringing ourselves into the present moment, calm rules whenever we can. And although he's obviously joking around and being a bit of a clown in this photo, it's like, I need a photo to show everyone meditation. He's like being a joker. So now he's having fun, which is actually kind of hilarious. That's the ultimate point, is to calm down and get out of that anxious state into a state when we're feeling a little bit better. But we've been doing so much of this lately. And the purpose behind doing this is it brings stillness to our mind and to our body. Stillness is a superpower. In an era of anxiety, stillness is a superpower that enables you to navigate, that enables you to reflect, that enables you to learn. Think about someone who's reading, deeply engrossed in a book. They're frozen. They're not moving. They're engaged in whatever that is that they are doing. This is a practice, actually. And the practice is mindfulness and meditation. We recommend something like this daily for about 15 minutes, because 15 minutes is 1% of your day. I'd love for you to practice being here and now for 1% of your day. What does that actually look like? This could be something like reading, being with your loved one with no distraction, going for a walk by yourself, no technology, deeply present, journaling. That's the reflection practice, right? The journaling practice. Listening to some great music, prayer, if that's in your belief system. Whatever you need to do in order for you every single day to practice being here and now. Mindfulness is simply bringing your attention into the present moment. Meditation is the practice of being mindful long enough that you get distracted and you bring yourself back into the present moment and be mindful again. Now that might take 3 seconds before your mind starts to race off, might take 5 minutes. And mindfulness often has an anchor like your breath or counting. So we're just simply bringing ourselves back into the present moment over and over and over again. And that's the practice of meditation. I often hear from people, I'm not very good at meditating. My mind is racing all over the place. I'm like, well, the simple fact that you are aware that your mind is racing, that is meditation. So you're showing me that you can do it. There's no judgment, no expectations. Sometimes when I'm meditating and I'm counting my breaths, I make it to 1 breath, my mind wanders. Another time I'll make it to 3 breaths and my mind wanders. Sometimes I make it to 30 breaths before my mind wanders, but it changes and it's fine because what I'm doing is practicing bringing my attention back into the present moment, which is amazing for stopping ruminating thinking. Ruminating thinking is when we're replaying events from the past. It's incredibly fantastic also for stopping anxiety, because anxiety often comes from when we're imagining a future that doesn't yet exist. When we're aware of that, we bring yourself back into the present moment and you're like, you know what? I'm actually okay right now. I'm going to get through the next 20 minutes. So that's the power and why we recommend that and why we think that stillness is a superpower. Now, just like we want to consider mental stillness, I also want you to consider physical stillness. I want your body to be calm as well. I was recently down in California at an event and found this little place to go for a walk. And the purpose behind these little spaces that you often find is that you walk between all of the different sort of markers there on the ground. And it isn't so much that you're getting in and out of the maze, it's that you are walking mindfully. Your attention is in the present moment. You are practicing being here. And I find that when I do this rhythmic, repetitive pattern, that is often what enables me to bring myself into the present moment. It's a mind-body calmness. Nature also has this effect. This is obviously Adam in the forest when we were out west recently and found a river, and he was just simply sitting there, and I caught that moment, and he was in a very calm state. I would love for you to consider also, where's your place? Where can you go to be physically and mentally calm? Is it a room in your house? Is it a park bench? Is it the gym? Maybe it's your office. Right? Where can you go to think? That's the famous statue of the Thinker by Rodin, French sculptor. He's at the gates of hell contemplating his life. And that's what it might feel like sometimes. But I want you to consider giving yourself the space and time to think. It might be 1 hour a week. It might be 10 minutes a day. Whatever you can find, we need to give ourselves the time and space to think. An idea and a way to implement this is the 1-2-3 principle. Can't go there. There we are. The 1-2-3 principle. And I'll go over here so I can look like I'm looking at the stuff. The 1-2-3 principle is simply this. 1 hour a day, something calming for you. 2 days a month, 1 weekend per month, completely off tech. And 3 weeks a year, please take a real vacation. This is the 1-2-3 idea for bringing stillness to your life. 1 hour a day, some form of stillness. This could be reading. This could be you in your car, driving and listening to music. This could be you at the gym. This could be making dinner and eating dinner with your family. This could be the walk with coworkers at lunch. Doesn't have to be all at the same time. We're just trying to add some stillness to our life. 2 days a month is critical. Once per month, one weekend where you are not working, where you are not actively trying to move your career forwards. Give yourself a break. Now, this might seem counterintuitive, but the research is very clear that when we pause, creativity comes back online and we actually are better able to navigate and use our time effectively. So 1 weekend a month, completely off. And then 3 weeks a year, have those vacation days, protect them, and do not work. Give yourself a chance to completely recover and to regenerate. And so when we do this, and we add the 1, 2, 3 principle to our life, we consider the 1 hour a day, 2 days a month, 3 weeks a year. That's what enables us to build this practice into our lives and make it sustainable. All right, the final idea that I have for you around this strategic thinking pathway is the idea of leveraging the power of nature. Just like we leverage the power of music, here we're leveraging the power of nature. Here's Ingrid at the start of the pandemic, not in a good mood. School's canceled, activities are canceled, at home, not impressed, clearly in a dark place mentally. So I managed to get her outside. This is the photo that we took right after that. As you can see, she's not too thrilled when we're in this park. Grabs the stick, swings the stick, misses me, but I got the photo for you. Anyway, we just kept moving through the environment, and about 15 minutes later, that's Ingrid. Completely different headspace. She went from being quite stressed and unhappy to clear, creative, and back to her normal self again. This fascinated me. I was amazed that this shift happened. So I went back and I started digging through the research on the impact of nature on humans. And I found that when we are in natural environments, trees, for example, that plants have this fractal pattern of repeating mathematical patterns that decrease in size. And this fractal pattern, the repeating patterns that decrease in size, is present in 92% of plants. It's quite incredible, actually. They're also present in rivers and even galaxies, if you want to go that meta on it. Fascinating thing, though, is that not only are these fractal patterns present in the natural environment, they're also in our lungs. This is a photo of up close of a plant that I took on a hike last summer. And the reason why I took this photo is I could not believe how much this plant looks exactly like the alveoli in our lungs, the little tiny air sacs at the end of your lungs where gas exchange happens. I'm a respiratory physiologist. That's why I was drawn to this. But not only are these patterns present in 92% of plants and our lungs, they're also present in the capillary beds or blood vessels of our heart and also the neurons of the brain. I would love for you in this practice of learning how to learn, slowing down to speed up, calming down, bringing stillness to our lives to practice Shinrin Yoku. Now, Shinrin Yoku is simply forest bathing, nature bathing. Keep your clothes on if you're outside. Obviously, we don't want to be arrested. And this practice of forest bathing or nature medicine or Shinrin Yoku, as it's known in Japan, is so powerful that not only will it change your mood as it did with Ingrid's, but it will actually also elevate your immune system. Research has shown that exposure to plants on a weekly basis increases the activity of natural T killer cells to such an extent that it reduces your risk of upper respiratory tract infections, colds, flus, COVID, etc., by up to 75%. Natural T killer cells also increase their activity in response to nature, and this has had a demonstrable effect upon cancer cells. It's that powerful. So we recommend practicing nature medicine weekly for about 60 minutes. So once every 7 days. Essentially, we are looking to get into nature. And the reason why is because the effect of the exposure to nature lasts for up to 7 days at a time. So you only need to do this on the weekend. That's it. Once a week, get out into nature and you win. All right, everyone. So the core message for today is simply this. Stillness is a superpower. This is what we are trying to bring to our lives in an era of tension and stress. I love this quote from Ray Dalio. Your unique power of reflectiveness, your ability to look at yourself, the world around you, and the relationship between you and the world means that you can think deeply and weigh subtle things to come up with learning and wise choices. This is the alpha brainwave state that comes to us when we slow down in order to be able to speed up. If you want to learn more about this, that's what the Rest Your Focus Recharge book is all about. Slowing down to speed up. I walk you through beta mode, alpha mode, and theta mode and help you to implement this in your life. If you want to check that out, that's great. Otherwise, you can just watch this video and learn the exact same stuff. And hopefully that is helpful for you. All right, everyone. So that's it for this week. I'm trying to keep these videos tight and on time. So if you have questions, please flip them to me through my website, drgregwells.com/contact. If you've ever received this video through email, just reply to the email, answer, and ask me the question. I'll get back to you as fast as I possibly can. And all of these resources are here at this particular website, drgregwells.com/performance. This is section number 5. So just scroll down to part 5 and you will see the replay for this video and the associated workbook that goes along with it. So that's it for this week, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope this is helpful. Remember, stillness is a superpower. Give yourself permission to try to do this. The 1, 2, 3 practice is a great place to start. And of course, get out into nature once a week. That's it. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Send your questions.